So there are only two ways to make money betting on sports long term. And if you don't understand the difference between them, you're probably doing neither one correctly. These two approaches are called top-down betting and bottom-up betting. And let me explain both in the simplest terms possible, because once you understand this distinction, everything about profitable betting starts to make sense, okay? Now, before I dive into these two paths, you need to understand one fundamental concept that separates winners from losers in this game, and I see that this is a still big problem. It's called expected value, and it's not as complicated as it sounds. So think of expected value like this. Imagine you're flipping a coin, okay? But instead of winning or losing $1, you win $2 every time it lands heads and lose $1 when it lands tails. So even though you lose some individual flips, like you lose some individual bets, over time you're guaranteed to make money because the math is in your favor. That's expected value. And finding bets where the potential reward outweighs the risk based on the true probability of the outcome. Every single profitable bettor in the world, whether they realize it or not, falls into one of two categories based on how they find these positive expected value opportunities, okay? And the first approach is called top-down betting, and this is where you copy other people's homework, okay? You try to mimic others. You're fast, reactive, and can be profitable, but your success depends entirely on following someone else's work, okay? The second approach is called bottom-up betting, and this is where you do your own homework. You must be methodical, patient, you need to love statistics, and if you figure out, you can build something that lasts for years. And let me break down both approaches so you can understand which one fits your personality, your schedule, and your long-term goals, okay? So top-down betting works exactly like it sounds, okay? You watch the sharp bettors, what sharp bettors are doing, and try to copy their moves before the market catches. And think of it like a pyramid where the information flows from the top down, and the sharpest bettors at the top make their moves first, and then the information trickles down through the market. And your job is to catch it before everyone else does, okay? And here's how top-down betting works in practice. So let's say imagine it's Sunday morning and you're monitoring dozens of sports books at the same time. That's why you need odds screens or some software, okay? And you notice that a football line moves from 3 points to 3.5 points at the sharp books like, let's say, Pinnacle. But recreational books like DraftKings, FanDuel haven't adjusted yet, okay? And you quickly place your bet at 3 points before DraftKings catches up and moves their line to 3.5 points. So you just captured half a point of value by being faster than the book's adjustments process, okay? Think of this like following a stock tip from Warren Buffett. You don't know why he's buying, but you know he's smarter than you, so you copy his move before everyone else figures out and drives the price up, okay? The advantages of this type of betting are pretty obvious, okay? You can potentially start making money immediately without learning complex analysis. You don't need to understand why teams should be favored by certain amounts or what should be the line. And you're essentially riding the coattails of people who do know what they are doing. But you will never become an actual expert or sharp bettor. But here's where top-down betting gets tricky, right? The books you need to exploit, the recreational ones that are slow to adjust, they don't like losing money to smart bettors, okay? So they will limit your bet sizes or ban you entirely once they figure out you're profitable. And I saw this many times from bettors. They either stop betting or they start doing their analysis. It's like being kicked out of casino for counting cards. Even though you're not cheating, they don't want your action anymore. Plus, with top-down betting, you're always one step behind the really sharp money, and you never actually learn why certain bets are good or bad, which means you cannot adapt when market conditions change, and you're, again, not sharp bettor. Bottom-up betting is completely different. Instead of copying someone else's work, you build your own system from the ground. The name says it all, okay, right? You start from the bottom with raw data and analysis, then build your way up to your own predictions and betting decisions, usually through sports betting models. This means creating your own method for predicting game outcomes and comparing your predictions to what the betting market thinks will happen. In other words, you create your own line and then you compare with bookmakers. Okay, so here's one example of bottom-up betting. Let's say you spend time analyzing, I don't know, NFL teams performing cold weather or whatever, and you discover that the, let's say, dome teams playing outdoors in temperatures below 30 degrees score an average of 4 fewer points than usual, but the betting market only adjusts the total by 2 points. So let's say that your line is -3 and they have +2. Okay, you found a systematic edge that you can exploit whenever this situation or whenever your betting model show, and this is this type of betting. Bottom-up betting is like learning the cook instead of just following recipes. It takes longer to master, but once you understand the fundamentals, you can create your own dishes instead of being limited to what others have already figured out, right? Of course, the advantages of bottom-up betting are significant once you do this. When your analysis is correct, you're identifying genuine market mistakes that you can exploit repeatedly, okay? You can often bet larger amounts because sharp books actually welcome actions from skilled bettors, and your knowledge and skills compounds over time, making you better and better at finding opportunities. And this is important because betting always evolves, right? Of course, however, bottom-up betting requires much bigger upfront investment in learning and development. And if your fundamental assumptions are wrong, you can lose money very quickly while thinking you're being smart. So how do you decide between those two approaches? If you want to try top-down betting, you need to be comfortable with software, with technology. You need to be members of some odds screens, right? Have access to multiple betting accounts and understand that your profit window might be limited because books will eventually restrict your action. I saw this many times, okay? Top-down betting works best for people who want immediate results and don't mind their strategy might have a shorter lifespan. I saw people making 5K and that's it, okay? If you want to pursue bottom-up betting, you need to enjoy analytical work on the other side, okay? Have patience for a longer learning curve and be willing to invest significant time upfront for potentially much larger long-term results. Bottom-up betting works best for people who want to understand why they are winning or losing and prefer building something sustainable. So those are people who love math, who love analyzing games, and they will have long-term success. Okay. Now some people try to combine both. They build their own betting models to identify potential value using bottom-up analysis and then use top-down market movement as confirmation before placing their bets. This hybrid approach can work, but it also requires managing both complex analysis and real-time market monitoring, which is like trying to be both chef and food critic at the same time. So let me give you the most honest assessment of both bets. Top-down betting can offer quicker initial profits, but it faces a ticking clock because your access to profitable opportunities diminish over time as books get smarter about limiting sharp action. As I said, I saw many bettors who did this and they stopped betting or either start building their own betting models. Okay, bottom-up betting requires more patience and skill development, but it offers unlimited upside if you can actually get good at it. Most successful bettors who last in this game for years or decades eventually end up using bottom-up betting strategies, sports betting models, predictive models, because copying others only works until market structure changes or your access gets cut off, okay? So here's what both top-down and bottom-up betting have in common, and this is crucial no matter what you decide. They both require strict bankroll management, detailed record keeping, and emotional discipline to stick to your strategy even during losing streak, because I saw people when they hit first losing streak, that's it, okay? Neither approach works if you're betting with money you can afford to lose, that's for sure, or if you abandon your system every time you hit a rough patch, for example. The biggest mistake people make with top-down betting is chasing every line movement without understanding that not all movement indicates sharp action, okay? For example, sometimes it's just public betting or false signals. And the biggest mistake with bottom-up betting is becoming so attached to your model that you ignore obvious market signals that contradict your analysis or that you don't evolve over time, okay? But the reality is that both top-down and bottom-up betting can lead to profitability, but they require completely different personalities and skill sets, okay? Top-down betting, for example, is like day trading. It's fast-paced, reactive, and potentially profitable, but inherently limited by market structure, okay? On the other side, bottom-up betting is like long-term investment. It's research intensive, you need a patience, but offers potentially unlimited returns if you develop genuine skill. So if you decide to try top-down betting, start small with accounts at several sports books, invest in odds monitoring tools. You will need some software, odds screens or something like that, and spend weeks just observing the market movements before risking money. And on the other side, if you choose bottom-up betting, I always recommend pick one sport when you can develop genuine expertise. Start with simple statistical analysis before building complex betting models and track not just your wins and losses, but why each bet won or lost. So simply become skilled, okay? Remember, regardless whether you choose top-down or bottom-up betting, success isn't about finding one magical system that works forever. It's about developing a sustainable approach that matches your skills, resources, and long-term goals. Okay, this is for sure. The market is constantly evolving, and technology is improving, and competition is increasing, which means you need to continuously adapt and improve no matter which strategy you use. So there is no shortcut. Okay. Because the choice between top-down and bottom-up betting ultimately comes down to whether you want to be fast or you want to be deep, whether you prefer immediate results or long-term sustainability and good results in the long run, and whether you are comfortable depending on others or you want to actually become sharp, create your own advantages, okay? Both paths can work, but only if you understand their limitations and play to their strengths, okay? So if you like this message, hit like, subscribe, and visit underdogchance.com to learn my way of betting, learn about my life, mindset, sports betting models. And of course, remember, nothing I share is advice. It's just my perspective, my story, my experience. For some, it might spark change. For others, maybe not. But whatever you take from it, own it, test it, and take full responsibility for how you use it. This is something I always say. I'm just here to share the message, and it is up to you what you do with this, okay? So thank you for watching, and I hope you see you the next time.